Hi, this is Polly from thefitmumformula.com, and today I'm going to be talking to you about vegetarian protein sources. Now, just to clarify, I'm not going to be going into vegan protein sources because I've already done a video on that, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I will put a link to that video in the notes below, so look out for that one. Today I'm just going to be talking about vegetarian proteins. So just to clarify, vegetarian is somebody who will eat derivatives of animals, so eggs and dairy, but they won't eat animal flesh, so no meat and no fish. You can also get pescatarians who eat the same as vegetarians but also eat some fish. And you get people who call themselves sort of part-time or semi-vegetarians who eat a predominantly the vegetarian diet and sometimes eat meat and fish. I would call those people who do eat meat and fish but just not so often, but it doesn't matter what you call yourself. So, vegetarian protein sources. Well, first of all, we of course have eggs. Eggs are amazing. They are nature's fast food. They are so convenient. You can do them with everything. You can make omelettes, scrambled eggs, pancakes. You can put them raw in smoothies if as long as they're line stamped, and so you know that they're not contaminated. Eggs are just so useful. You can also get egg whites, and if you don't want to be wasting all the yolks, you can buy this stuff in cartons. There's nothing wrong with yolks at all. It just sometimes if you're looking for something for whatever reason, if you want something much lower calorie, lower fat, for one particular issue, or even just for using a recipe, egg whites, the white is where the protein is and the yolk is all the fat. It's also really nutritious, the yolk, with loads of fat soluble vitamins A, D, and it's got choline in as well. They're really nutritious, but if in a particular instance you do want something that's just protein, lower fat, then egg whites are really useful. Then we've got dairy products. Now, the interesting thing about dairy products is they have all three macronutrients in that they have carbohydrates, fat, and protein in them. The difference between the different types are the ratios of each of those things. So here we've got some double cream, which, as you can probably guess, is very high in fat and not particularly high in protein or carbohydrates, for that matter. It is mostly fat. And then of course the extreme end, you've got butter, which is mostly fat and has a tiny bit of protein and a tiny bit of carbohydrates, but it is almost pure fat. Milk is great. Milk's quite a balance of all three. Even whole milk is only about 4% fat, so milk is quite a good protein source. Interestingly, the lower fat milk you get, the higher carbohydrate it is, because the proteins seems to stay about the same, and the fat, when you take out the fat, it just means that proportionately the carbohydrate goes up. So actually, full fat milk, if you're going for a lower carb diet, full fat can be better, especially since saturated fat is not bad for you. It will not kill you. It will not make your heart explode. Okay, so saturated fat is absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. And if you prefer whole milk, that is absolutely fine. The only reason fat can be a problem when you're trying to lose weight or trying to burn fat is because it's got high calorie. It's 9 calories per gram compared to 4 calories per gram for both protein and carbohydrates. So if you're eating a lot of fat in your diet and not watching your portion sizes, it might contribute to an excess in calories, and you can't lose weight or burn fat if you're eating more calories than you're burning. So that's the only reason to watch out for fat. Aside from that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and I would argue that because too many carbohydrates in the diet can, in some people, cause sugar levels to go up and down, and so therefore your hunger and cravings in turn goes up and down as well. I would say carbohydrates are the one to lower, and actually to keep fat at least on a medium, if not higher. It depends how you're feeling on it. Everybody's different, but certainly don't go the low fat all the time. That's not beneficial to health at all. Okay, cheese is a source of protein, especially cheddar. We've got some cheddar here, goat's cheese, and mozzarella is a good protein one as well. Again, the only thing you've got to watch out for there is if you're choosing full fat varieties, you've got to be mindful that you can't eat them endlessly because the calories are going to go up with that amount of fat in them. But that being said, you know, within the context of a calorie balanced diet, they're absolutely fine. They're really nutritious, and and they're a good source of protein. But you know, by all means choose lower fat varieties if you wish. On that note, one type of cheese that is naturally fat free is cottage cheese. In fact, you can get just actually to go back on that, you can get cottage cheese that by itself is pretty low fat compared to most cheeses, and then you can also get fat free and reduced fat cheese. But on the whole, cottage cheese is a very low fat, very high protein cheese. Now in dairy, the lactose is the sugar in dairy and the casein is the protein. So cottage cheese is really high in casein. That's why you see it. It's another one of those bodybuilder foods. It's very high in protein and it's very filling for that reason as well, without being a huge amount of calories. So for somebody who's trying to keep their calories low enough to lose weight, you want to make sure you're full, because being hungry is miserable. So cottage cheese is a really good one there because it's really filling, and also because it's fairly neutral. You can add stuff to it. You can add chopped pineapple. You can often buy it in the shops, chopped pineapple already in it. You can add some herbs, so some garlic in, prawns, some chopped chicken, tomato puree. In fact, I know I've done an article on ideas how to jazz up cottage cheese, so I'm going to put that in the notes as well, because that was a really useful one. And finally, yogurt. Yogurts vary in their protein content as well. On the whole, the thicker the yogurt, the higher protein, and that's what makes it so nice and thick and filling. So Greek yogurt is the highest protein content of all yogurts, and then you've got natural yogurt is fairly good as well. And then the worst ones are really low fat fruit yogurt, because they've replaced a lot of the diet yogurts. They've replaced a lot of the natural protein rich yogurt with fillers and sugar and fruit purees, and they're the lowest in protein. So my favourite is Greek yogurt, natural plain Greek yogurt, and then you can flavour it with cocoa powder, stevia, fruit, mashed fruit, stewed fruit. You can even put extra protein powder in there, and that is a really tasty kind of breakfast or pudding. Or you can make salad dressings out of it as well. Put some flavourings in there, and use that on top of things. Use it in place of cream or things like sour cream, on foods as well, things like burritos, that kind of stuff. There, it's really, really versatile, especially if you buy the unflavoured one. I really like these Total Greek yogurts because they're nice and thick, and I really like thick Greek yogurt. But on the whole, I'll be honest, I do try and buy, when available, organic versions, just because the way the animals are treated, the way the cows are treated is much more humane. They're fed a more natural, wholesome diet, and they're not given so many pesticides, chemicals, hormones, all that kind of stuff. And I generally have a theory that whatever Mother Nature says, she got it right in the first place. So I try and stick to things that are as close to natural as possible, including mostly organic produce. But at the end of the day, it's one of the smaller details. As the most important thing to be getting the best foods that you can, and you're much better off buying decent foods, buying decent Greek yogurt, dairy products, cheese, milk, eggs, even the budget versions, than you are buying premium chocolate biscuits because they're organic, because that's missing the point entirely. So there we have it. Eggs in all their varieties. Dairy, there's got loads to choose from there. Enjoy, see what you can knock up. I see a cheese omelette coming along for supper tonight. It's followed by some Greek yogurt pudding. Enjoy!